To install Windows 10, first we need to create a new VM in VirtualBox. Click on the New button. In the Create Virtual Machine window, type the name of your VM. I will type Windows 10. You can notice that VirtualBox has automatically selected Windows 10 64 bits as the version of the Windows I want to install by interpreting the VM name. I will just click Next. In the next window, select the memory size you want to give to your VM. I will just keep the suggested 2 GB. Next, you have to create the VM hard disk. Select Create a virtual hard disk now and click the Create button. Next, choose the hard disk file type. You have choices between VDI, the native VirtualBox format, VHD, the Microsoft Hyper-V format, and VMDK, the VMware format. You can keep the VDI format and go forward, but I am going to choose the VHD format to have the possibility to import my VM in Microsoft Hyper-V. In the next step, you have to choose how your virtual disk will be growing. Whether you want your disk should grow dynamically as it is used. This has the advantage to preserve disk space on the host machine. I mean by the host, your laptop or desktop on which you have installed VirtualBox. On the other hand, fixed size disk will occupy the space you will allocate to it, even if it's half empty. For example, you give your virtual disk the maximum size of 100 GB. VirtualBox will create the 100 GB virtual disk file on your desktop or laptop. So even if Windows 10 you will install on this VM will just occupy 20 GB, the remaining free space is considered as lost. For this reason, I will just select dynamically allocated size. Next, you have to choose the virtual disk file location and give it a name. VirtualBox suggests the same name for the disk as the name of the VM. I will keep that name, and I'm going to select the path where creating this file. I will also keep the suggested file size, 50 GB, will be enough for our Windows 10 VM. When done, click on the Create button. Alright, our Windows 10 VM is now created. Our next step consists of configuring the VM network so that it will be in the same network as the domain controller. So click on the Settings button, click on Network. In the Attached to Dropbox, select NAT Network. When I do that, the virtual network named My Network Lab I have created earlier when configuring VirtualBox environment is automatically selected. If you have created more than one network, you have to select one. Remember that two VMs must be on the same network to be able to communicate with each other. Our next step will be mounting the ISO disk image we have downloaded earlier. Mounting an ISO image is like inserting a DVD in the DVD drive. So, under Storage Devices, select the empty disk icon. Then click on Choose Virtual Optical Disk File. Browse to and select the ISO image file we have downloaded with the Microsoft Media Creation tool. You can see now that the label of the optical disk icon has changed to Windows 10.iso. This means that the Windows 10 image is mounted and ready to use. I will click OK button before starting my virtual machine. Now the setup program is starting. In the first window, you have to select your language. Here, there is only English language available, because when creating our ISO image with the Microsoft Media Creation tool, we have selected the English language. I will keep English United States format for the time and currency. For the keyboard format, I will select the French format as I have an AZERTY keyboard. Let's find French. Here it is. Let's continue. Click the Install Now button to begin the installation. Now the setup program is starting. In the activation window, click I don't have a product key button. The setup program will understand that we want to use the evaluation version of Windows 10. Now we need to choose which Windows 10 edition we want to use. The Home edition is designed for personal use and don't include all the features needed in a business environment. The Educational edition is designed for students and educators, and it includes more features than the Home edition. The edition we are going to install is the Pro edition. It's the edition designed for business use. You can notice that there is also the N edition. The N Windows edition is designed for Europe countries. It contains the same base features except media player and related pre-installed technologies. This is because of European antitrust law. So, I am going to select Windows 10 Pro and click the Next button. Accept the license agreement and click Next. Here we are going to choose the installation type. We are not going to choose Upgrade because we are doing a fresh installation. So click Custom Installation. Now we need to select the partition on which we perform the Windows installation. Here we have only one partition, so the choice is simple. I will just click Next to continue. Now the setup is starting. This will take some time to complete, so be patient. After the setup complete, Cortana, the virtual Windows 10 assistant, is talking to me. It allows me to use either the keyboard or my voice to interact with during the post-setup process. After Cortana intro, the post-setup process continues. First, select the region where you are. I will keep the default United States and click Yes. Next, choose your keyboard format. For me, I will select the French keyboard format. I don't need to select a second keyboard format, so I will skip this step. At this step, you can configure the network, but I will skip this step for now. I will configure the network later on. Next, type the name you will use to open a session on this VM. I will type my name. Type the password. Confirm the password. We need to create security questions for this account. In case you forget the password, Windows will ask you those questions in order to allow you recovering your password. This step is mandatory and you can't skip it. There are 3 questions. Let's begin with the first one. As this is a lab VM, I will not bother to think a lot about questions and answers I am going to select. What was your first pet's name? I will just type pet. Second question. Third question. Cortana is offering me its help when using Windows 10. I am going to decline because I want to save the VM resources and I don't want Cortana talking to me all the time. Now we need to choose our privacy settings, like speech recognition, which I don't need. I'm just going to disable all these settings because I don't need them and I don't want the VM slow down unnecessarily. Click Accept and wait for the configuration to complete. Great! The desktop is now displayed, and Windows asks me if I want my PC to be discoverable on this network by other devices. I will just click Yes. Now we need to install the Virtualbox Guest Additions program to allow the dynamic resolution of the desktop and the copy-paste function between the host computer and the VM. Go to Devices menu, click Insert Guest Additions CD image. If the pop-up window inviting you to start running the guest additions setup do not automatically display, you can just open Explorer. Click this PC icon. Double-click on the Virtualbox Guest Additions CD drive to display the content. To run the setup, double-click on VBox Windows Additions program. Click Yes to allow the setup to proceed. Just follow the steps by clicking Next. Next. Install. Make sure that Always Trust Software from Oracle Corporation is selected and click the Install button. Now click on the Finish button to restart the VM. And this is it. Our Windows 10 VM is ready to use. Well done!